dear.
The following is a special presentation of HBO Sports, the network of champions.
The professional career of Sugar Shane Mosley has been a run at boxing perfection. As a lightweight, he was sensational. In less than 2 years as 135-pound king, Mosley defended his title 8 times, scored 8 spectacular knockouts, and established himself as one of boxing's best.
This fight is over. A spectacular performance by Shane Mosley.
In search of bigger game, Mosley moved up 2 weight classes to meet Oscar De La Hoya for the welterweight title.
Shane Mosley is out hustling Oscar De La Hoya. Outworking him, outfighting him when it matters most.
Since his victory over De La Hoya, Mosley has dominated the division in style, forcing the question, who could beat Sugar Shane? The answer may lie with tonight's opponent, Vernon Forrest, last man to beat Shane Mosley nearly 10 years ago, when both were amateurs. Forrest sports his own perfect professional record after snuffing out Mosley's amateur dreams with a decision win at the 1992 Olympic trials, a bout which included a disputed trip to the canvas.
The fight wasn't close at all, and I blew him out, and he did get knocked out. He did hit the canvas.
For Forrest, a win over Mosley not only validates his victory at the Olympic trials, but would suddenly establish him among the sport's elite. Former 130-pound champion Arturo Gatti has been far from perfect over the course of his pro career, but fight fans love him anyway. Gatti has earned an adoring public in becoming boxing's most dramatic blood and guts warrior.
How about that? You'll never see better drama for a young prospect on his way to superstardom.
Gatti's early career was defined by non-stop action and come-from-behind victories. But tonight, Arturo looks to rebound following his loss last March to Oscar De La Hoya. Standing in his way, former 140-pound titleist Teron Millet. Then in the main event, Sugar Shane Mosley looks to avenge the only black mark on his record in an amazing 10-year run, taking on amateur rival Vernon Forrest. Tonight, we're live from New York City, bringing you an electrifying boxing doubleheader from the theater at Madison Square Garden. First up, all-time fan favorite Arturo Gatti matches up with former 140-pound titleist, hard puncher, Teron Millet. And then in our main event, Shane Mosley takes on former amateur rival Vernon Forrest for the welterweight championship of the world, in a fight many in the sport have looked forward to since their memorable Olympic trials matchup won by Forrest nearly 10 years ago. The legend of Arturo Gatti began in this very room almost 6 years ago with a back-from-the-brink knockout of Wilson Rodriguez in one of the most dramatic fights we've ever witnessed. Tonight, Gatti's back, trading shots with the very dangerous Teron Millet. Then, the highly anticipated 147-pound showdown between the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world in most rankings, Shane Mosley, against fellow undefeated welterweight Vernon Forrest. And hello again, everybody. I'm Jim Lampley. We welcome you to the theater at Madison Square Garden for a World Championship boxing card we've looked forward to for quite some time. It comes, of course, at the end of another tumultuous week in the sport, marked by reams of bad publicity attached to the behavior of a fighter outside the ring that has dwarfed the publicity surrounding this fight and leaves us with the job of telling the story to you to get ready for something really worth waiting for. Can Shane Mosley avenge his amateur loss 10 years ago that actually stunted the growth of his professional career by knocking him out of an expected gold medal trip to Barcelona? Can Vernon Forrest prove that what he did as an amateur 10 years ago to the then favored Mosley, he can do to the heavily favored Mosley as a professional once again? And before we get to that, a chance to watch Arturo Gatti in action. It's always exciting, but it's 50-50 tonight whether he wins or loses against hard-punching Teron Millet, and we wonder what it does to Gatti's career if Millet is able to beat him. Working with me tonight, as always, for these two fights, HBO boxing analyst Larry Merchant. Larry, as I mentioned, the media frenzy surrounding the Mike Tyson meltdown at the news conference last Tuesday involving himself and Lennox Lewis has completely obliterated any national publicity or buildup for this terrific fight between Mosley and Forrest. Within the boxing world, within our cult, so to speak, how important is this fight?
From the meltdown to the sublime. Anytime Sugar Shane Mosley fights, it's big. And the fighter widely regarded as the best out there is fighting a fighter in Forrest who may simply be designed to give him trouble. Sorry to disappoint you folks. All we have tonight are two talented fighters who train hard, fight hard, honor the rules and standards of their profession. Bummer.
Worth watching anyway, we promise. Meanwhile, as we get ready for it, we'll see the ultimate gladiator of modern times in boxing, Arturo Gatti, and here to talk more about him is one of the most exciting gladiators of years past, two-time heavyweight champion George Foreman. George, Arturo has given us, the audience, so many amazing thrills and chills over the years, but he's taken a lot of punishment to do so in his last 4 fights against real opponents. He's lost. Now here comes another assignment against a real fighter. Has Gatti reached the point where he has to win to stay interesting?
Given is what he's done. He's given probably too much to us. Now it's the time for Gatti to do something for himself. Get out there, move to the side, left, right, move back, do something for yourself. You must win. If he decides to be a good boxer, I think he can win.
Funny enough, he had boxing skills early in his career, and he says he's going to do that again. We'll see if that's the case tonight. Meanwhile, as we get ready to see the first of our 2 fights, we want to remind you to log on to America Online, keyword HBO Boxing, and cast your vote in tonight's website poll. Do you think Lennox Lewis and Mike Tyson will fight as scheduled on April 6th? Between fights, we'll talk live with Nevada State Athletic Commission Executive Director Mark Ratner about Tuesday's hearing to begin determining whether Mike Tyson will be licensed to box in Nevada. Intelligently, you may want to wait until you hear what Mark Ratner has to say before casting your vote in our website poll. That'll be coming up between fights. Right now, let's get ready for the first of these 2 terrific matchups, and here's the tale of the tape. For Arturo Gatti and Teron Millet, you can see that Gatti's still only 29 years old, despite all those dramatic ring wars. Millet gives up 1 inch in height, 1 inch in reach. They both weighed in 1.25 pounds or 1.5 pounds over the 140-pound limit. They're both hard punchers. This should be a high-contact fight. Rules of the bout with our unofficial ringside scorer, Harold Letterman.
Okay, Jim, listen up. They're a little bit different. Arturo Gatti and Teron Millet are scheduled for 10 rounds using the rules of the New York State Athletic Commission. The 3 knockdown rule is in effect. The doctor or the referee can stop the fight. In case the cut is caused by an accidental headbutt, we go to the scorecards if the 5 rounds have been completed, and you cannot be saved by the bell in any round, including the 10th and final round. And Jim, if the mouthpiece gets knocked out, they put it back immediately. Jim.